Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up, we head to Winterton ahead of a year of renovation work to see what's being done, and we go to Louth for another Reflections, and my guests tonight are Victoria Midgley and Amy Dennis, who are the choir leaders of Scartho Community Choir and also one of its members. Welcome to Estuary News, I'm Dan Kemp. Now it's time for the news headlines. Hull is set to play host to legendary rocker Rod Stewart next year. He'll perform at the KC Stadium on the 14th of June. It'll be the first concert staged at the arena since boy band JLS performed there in 2011. It's expected to have a large chunk of the proceeds going from a concert to good causes, with the Daisy Appeal and Holy Trinity Church Restoration Fund both benefiting. Police made 29 arrests, carried out 7 drug warrants, issued 7 dispersal orders and went more than 600 hours on high visibility patrols on Grimsby's East Marsh as part of Operation Impact. The week-long initiative was implemented to safeguard areas identified as suffering high levels of antisocial behaviour and crime. Superintendent Darren Downs has said on the force intend to carry on this work and will do further days of actions on a routine basis over the coming weeks and months. A 12-year-old boy has had his bike stolen by a youth with a knife whilst playing at a North East Lincolnshire BMX park. He was at Clements Way in New Waltham on Saturday evening when the incident occurred. The boy reported being threatened by a youth before being told to hand over his white Carrera Valor mountain bike. He was unharmed, and anyone with information is asked to contact Humberside Police. The refurbished Spurn Lighthouse is on course to be unveiled in November. Over £470,000 was awarded by the Heritage Lottery Fund for the restoration, as well as extra coastal communities funding. The project is keeping time, having been targeted for completion by the end of this year. And Ward 2 at Scunthorpe Hospital has been shut due to an outbreak of diarrhoea and vomiting. Staff and visitors are being advised to stay away from the hospital until they've been symptom-free for 48 hours. Grimsby's Saucy Fish Company has been named amongst Britain's coolest brands finally. The year's listing selected by 36 opinion formers, including singer-songwriter Ella Rare and Labyrinth, as well as 2,500 members of the British public. While coolness is entirely subjective, the brand's innovation, originality, authenticity and desirability were amongst the points that it was judged on. And if you have any news for us, don't hesitate to contact us on 01472 315 553, email news@estuary.tv or search for us on Facebook or Twitter. Bye for now. Now churches are at the centre of many communities, and ones like All Saints Church in Winterton have been in desperate need of refurbishment. Now the first phase of a major £1 million overhaul has been finished, and yesterday saw it marked by a rededication ceremony led by the Bishop of Lincoln. We went along to see how the new facilities are going and how the community will benefit.
Churches are at the centre of village life in rural communities like Winterton in North Lincolnshire and often need restoring. Now a major restoration project is nearing its end at the church.
Well, it's a very extensive project of reordering, restoration, interpreting a lot of the artefacts and things we have in the church, making a place for our community to use and to feel it's theirs.
The project has cost around £1.6 million in total and has had a large focus on preserving local heritage. The church is a Grade 1 listed building which is at the centre of Winterton's heritage, which is why this focus on preserving unique parts of the village's heritage, like the parish beer, was so important.
We've created a heritage room. This is where our very interesting and rather unusual collection of old West Gallery instruments are stored now. We've got about half a dozen, a couple of flutes, a vox humana and a clarinet. The parish beer, which has languished for many years in a shed at the bottom of the vicarage garden, it is now restored and I believe might even be usable should people wish to use it.
The church's refurbishment is only part done. There are plans to add other amenities such as a kitchen. But on Sunday, the Bishop of Lincoln visited for a special rededication ceremony marking the first stage of the refurbishment.
We believe we have it on trust from them and that we must look after it. Of course, the project is not complete. The new build, which is to create a new kitchen, which will increase our ability to be of service and value in the community, is going to happen, but it's not happening just yet.
You're watching Estuary News. Still to come, it's time for another weekly Reflections, and we'll have all the latest sports news and results. Now, singing seems to be a popular pastime. There are many choirs to be found across our region. The community choir in Scartho are seeking new members, and joining me is their leader Victoria Midgley and Amy Dennis, who also takes part. Firstly, tell us a little bit about the choir then to start with.
We've been going 3 years. We've got 24 members, all different ages and backgrounds, and at the moment we're looking for some more male voices. Women are always welcome, but we're hoping to get some more males.
Okay, and tell us then a little bit about where the idea for starting a choir came from and how long ago it was.
Well, when I moved back to Grimsby a few years ago, I'd always been singing in choirs in Lincoln, and there wasn't anything local to my village of Scartho, so I thought I'd start something up. So initially started out as a WI choir, but then it kind of evolved into an open community choir.
Okay, and why did it make that change?
It was becoming a bit bureaucratic with the WI. We needed to fill in forms and things, and we wanted to allow male members, which we could have done with a WI choir, but people thought because it was WI we could only allow females, so that was one of the reasons, but just to make it more open to everybody.
Okay, and do you find that men do come along and take part? Obviously you're asking for more people to come down, we'll talk about that in the second part, especially men, but do you find that maybe men don't come down as much as you'd like them to?
Yeah, not really sure why, so today is a good opportunity to let people know that, you know, we would like more male members, so if anyone's out there that wants to come along, they'd be more than welcome. Okay,
Amy, tell us a little bit about then the choir from your perspective, how you got involved.
I first started in March to get more confidence because I thought it'll give me something to do during the week.
Okay, and how much do you think, I suppose, things like this are really needed for people your age? I don't know how old you are, but how much do you think it's kind of, I won't ask you, how much do you think it's kind of an important part of your life and young people's lives in general to have something like this to go along to?
It's an opportunity, so if you wanted to have a career in singing, and then now it's time to learn and get more confidence.
Okay, I assume as well, obviously, it's not just people your age, but the choir's made up of quite a vast array of different people.
Yeah. How
good is it for you to be able to interact with a lot of different ages and a lot of different people in general? It must be good to, I suppose, not just have the younger people alongside you, but have the chance to interact with people like Victoria. Not that you're much older, obviously, but have a chance to experience the different.
It's good to have an age range of people.
You've made lots of new friends.
Yeah, we're all like
you?
a big family.
Yeah.
I suppose that's the nice part of it. That's exactly why you want more people to come along, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's your background then, Victoria?
My background, I'm a historian by trade, but I've got a little building company at the moment, so nothing to do with music, but I've just always had a passion for music, so got started in university choir and carried on being in choir since then. So.
Okay, Amy, what else do you do then apart from your time in the choir?
I currently work Thorpe Park in Cleethorpes.
Okay, and how would you find the two things kind of go side by side?
It's pretty easy. Get the days off when you need.
I like the sound of that as well. Right, shall we go back onto the choir then? What kind of songs are you performing at the minute?
We've recently been doing John Lennon's Imagine. We've recently done Keane's Somewhere Only We Know. We'll be starting practicing for Christmas soon, so it's really Christmassy at Christmas time. We do loads of carols and we take the choir around supermarkets and raise money for different charities. This year it's Women's Aid, so pretty much just getting set for Christmas at the moment.
I suppose that's one of the things about a choir. It's kind of seasonal as well, so
yes,
people can get involved at different times.
Yeah.
What kind of issues do you have surrounding, I suppose, retaining members as well?
We've got a really good retention rate. For about a year we only had 3 members, and it was kind of me footing the bill for the room costs and everything, but luckily the rugby club have allowed us to have their room really cheap now, and the members that we've got in the last year have just stayed. So there's not many dropping off, only for kind of illness and things like that. So retention is quite good. So I think we must be doing something right, but we can always grow. You know, we're happy to grow.
Okay, and where can people see your concerts? Where was the last one you did, for example?
We've done a few at the Chestnuts Nursing Home, Scarth OWI on a Thursday night we've done. We intend to do some more at supermarkets. We did supermarkets last year, Morrison's, Asda, Tesco, and then there'll be a few forthcoming dates soon. So.
Okay, and what kind of feedback do you get from people? That's open to both of you as well. What do people say to you after they've seen you perform?
We always sound great.
Yeah, well, we like to think we do.
That's half the battle, I'd have thought.
No, it's not about perfection. I mean, we've got professional singing tuition, but lots of us aren't professionals. So it's just a mixture of styles, isn't it, as well? So, yeah, we think we're getting there. We're improving all the time as well. So,
okay,
yeah,
well, we'll come back to you after this short break. We'll talk about, obviously, your need for more males, especially to be a part of the choir. Yes. Thanks for that, and stay there. Right, next up, joining me after the break, when the Reverend Kate Toogood will bring us today's reflections. We'll have all the latest local sports news and results. Welcome back, you're watching Estuary News. Still to come, we head to Louth for reflections and we'll bring you the latest local sports news and results. Now, still with me in the studio talking about the community choir of Scartho is Victoria Midgley and Amy Dennis. Right, we were talking a little bit before the break about the choir generally. Now tell us then a little bit about what you're looking for.
At the moment we're looking for male members. Any voice is welcome. You don't necessarily have to have experience. You might have sung in school choirs, college choirs, university choirs. We do read from sheet music, so it's an advantage if you can read music, but it's not a problem if not. Lots of us don't read music. And also we're looking for female altos as well.
Okay, and how many more people are you looking for then? As a rough number, I'm assuming you'll take as many as you can.
It'd be great if we got one, but we've got a few men at the minute, but we're looking for at least another 3. We'd hope to get another 3 this year, so that'd be good.
Okay, we touched on it briefly before the break about men, not necessarily wanting to be part of a choir. Why, do you find any reason, do people speak to you and say why they're not that interested in it? Or do you find that that's not a problem at all?
No, well, I don't really know what's preventing men coming to try the choir. But what I do know is the male members absolutely love it. They love being in the choir and they say it's changed their lives. I know it sounds a bit dramatic, but you know, it's given them a new circle of friends and you know, it's nice to get out and meet people. So not sure why they're not coming, but we will welcome them if they do.
Okay, and have you got any particular need, either of you, for any particular types of singers, like baritones, anything like that? Obviously, you can tell my experience of music isn't that broad, but I'm sure you can tell me if there's anyone you're particularly looking for. Is there any gaps you need to fill?
Yeah, baritone would be fine. Bass, any male singer, even altos, even if they're good. You know, we might have some really young male sopranos. You know, it would be really nice to have some male sopranos. So yeah, any male voices would be welcome.
Are you looking to bring younger people through, like Amy, as well?
We've got quite a few young members and quite a few older members, so any age in between would be fine. Yeah, we'd be happy.
Okay, what do you kind of offer them? Because obviously, I'm assuming some younger children maybe don't have the experience that they need. I don't know if you were the same, Amy, but maybe your kind of tutelage would help them. What do you do for them to bring them on, I suppose?
Yeah, well, we take from 14 years onwards, and we had 3 14-year-olds initially. And our professional singing tutor who we employ, she gives some really good guidance, which is applicable to all of us, but it really helps the younger ones. A lot of them are doing singing at college and at school and things like that, so that does help.
Okay, and you said people don't have to audition.
No audition. No, absolutely not. No.
So you'll take anyone?
Yes,
not worried to play down your standards?
We will, because we believe anyone can sing, and we've proven that by taking people who say, we can't sing, we can't read from sheet music, and they've come to the choir and they are progressing. So, proven.
Okay, easy question then. When and where do you meet up, and how can people get involved?
Do you want to say that, Amy?
We meet up on a Tuesday evening, so we at the Grimsby Rugby Club in Scartho down Springfield Road. We start at 7:15 for warm-up and then start at 7:30 with the professional singer who guide us through till 9 o'clock.
Okay, thanks very much for joining us. Okay, and now it's time for weekly reflections, and this week it's with the Reverend Katie Toogood from the Team Parish of Louth.
If you live anywhere near Louth or in Louth, it can't have escaped your notice that we've been having some rather fabulous celebrations. The Inspire 500 has been a year of events to celebrate and commemorate the completion of the spire at St James Church in Louth. The events have happened throughout the year, but the climax was last weekend with a choral evensong in church with over 300 people, followed by the most spectacular firework display off the top of the church. But the play on words, Inspire 500, isn't just about the spire, but also about inspiration, remembering the inspiration of those who built the spire to start with, but also questioning what might inspire us today. As part of my work in schools, I've been going around asking children who or what inspires them, and I've had some interesting answers. Sports people, entertainers, singers, and actors, some of whom I've never even heard of, as well as monarchs and inventors and scientists from years gone by. But as I've been talking to the children, I've been thinking about who inspires me, and it's actually quite varied. Everyone from the saints of old to people who've really helped shape the world in my own generation, even to my favourite singer. But above all, as a Christian, the greatest inspiration for me is of Jesus Christ, his life, his ministry, his death, and his resurrection. So I want to encourage all of us, as we celebrate Inspire 500, to think about who inspires us and the reasons why. But more than that, how we could be inspirations to those around us.
Joining me on the sofa is Dave Nunn to look through some of the weekend's news stories. Thanks for joining me, Dave. First story then, what are we talking about?
So we've got illegal alterations to Beverley's historic buildings is apparently out of control.
Out of control?
A bit of a doomsday headline there. So this is former property developer John Dawson has accused East Riding Council's planning department of ignoring complaints about unauthorised changes to historic buildings in the town. So it's like people putting satellite dishes on top of historic buildings, UPVC windows, plastic guttering.
We're not going to see a satellite dish on top of Beverley Minster, though, are we?
I don't know. They might just take out all the stained glass windows and replace them with UPVC. I mean, who knows? But that's the sort of thing that I think they may be hinting at with this article. I mean,
as a proud Beverlonian, I am concerned by this. You've worried me.
Well, the thing is, you've got to strike a balance, haven't you? We saw the story a couple of weeks ago with the CEX on White Friday in Hull. Yeah. They built a new door that wasn't right, and people complained, and it's just like something like that is a bit ridiculous. But at the same time, you have got to strike a good balance. There are laws within councils that people do have to adhere to, but do you think maybe it's just a case of maybe being a bit more relaxed, especially in a place like Hull, where you've got quite a big deal coming up in the next couple of years, and maybe they need to make sure they can get all the investment they can? Yeah, I think maybe they do need to sort of think about it a bit more sensibly. I mean, in a place like Beverley, I can see why people do want to protect the the historic side of the town, because there are quite a few historic buildings there, but you have to strike a sensible balance between being, sensible and just being a bit too pedantic. Like, you're not going to close down a whole street of buildings because it's got UPVC windows, are you? Well, you might, but I wouldn't. Unless it was the Minster. Unless it was the Minster, yeah. So you've got to be sensible about these things. Right, shall we move on then? What's the next story? So this is one that actually made me laugh a bit. So police warn one of their own staff of fighting with a member of the public. Fighting? What kind of fighting? Well, I presume it was just a fight, as in, like a fight, boxing fight, a boxing fight, a bit of professional boxing. But I just think the story is just funny because it goes on about some of the other stuff that the police have been doing as well, like excessive relationships with females. One of them was dismissed for drink driving, speeding. And Humberside police usually has quite a good reputation within the country, I believe, and this kind of flies in the face of that. Yeah, but it's the thing as well that obviously the police are there to stop other people from doing it, so the fact that they go out themselves and engage in fighting and drink driving doesn't exactly ring good as the image on the police. I mean, obviously not everyone's doing it. I'm going to put a disclaimer out now, not every police officer is going out drink driving, but obviously you can't really have it because it just looks really bad. I suppose we need to make this clear. This is only one member of the Humberside Police Force. Yeah. It's only one member of the police that's been caught fighting with a member of the public, and I think the officer has been dismissed pending an investigation. But yeah, just advice to police officers: don't go fighting with people. I think that's good advice and a good point to move on. Yeah. So we've got time for one more story. What have you got for us? So I want to mention something that I did on Friday. It sounds a bit irrelevant, but it is relevant. So I went to EGX, which is the biggest video games expo in the UK.
You're more of an expert than I am on this.
I am indeed, but I was surprised while I was there because they have a section called the Resd section, which is small independent game developers, and there were 2 from our area that were there, which was nice to see.
And who were they representing?
They were Smash Crab Studios from Hull were there with their game. It was called Get Rectangle, which is a funny name. I didn't actually play that. I didn't play the other one either, which is from Grimsby's Blimbo Games, and that was called Between Heartbeats. So it's quite nice to see them.
I've been down to see those guys in Hull as well. I think they had
they had the
budget
cardboard
visual reality
VR headset, yeah.
I suppose it goes to show what kind of good talent we've got going on in the area.
It's good as well because obviously at these events you have the big guys. You've got your PlayStations and your Microsofts and your Call of Duties and things like that, and see these guys alongside them. It's really good. Nice to see some upcoming talent.
Thank you very much for joining me on the Surfer Day.
Thank you.
Right, now it's time for the sport, and with me. We'll start with the results from the weekend's games. Hull City conceded an added time as they drew 1-1 with Blackburn Rovers. Abel Hernandez had given the Tigers the lead, but Jordan Rhodes popped up late on to head home the equaliser. Elsewhere, Scunthorpe United squandered a 1-0 lead away at Southend. Gary McSheffrey scored the opener, but Michael Timlin and Ben Coker gave the Shrimpers the win. Grimsby Town won 4-0 at Southport thanks to goals from Craig Clay, Craig Disley, John Paul Pittman and Josh Gowling, while North Ferriby United drew 0-0 at Newton Aycliffe in the FA Cup's second qualifying round. The replay for that is on Tuesday. Back to Hull City now, manager Steve Bruce says his players need to up their game, ahead of next Saturday's trip to Nottingham Forest. He's tried a number of different formations in recent weeks, but doesn't think that's behind the side's back-to-back league draws.
We can look at systems. We've played 3 at the back, 4 at the back, 4-3-3 we played the other night. I think we urgently need players to start performing the way we know we can, and then I think we'll be okay.
Rugby League now, and the Super League Super 8s and qualifiers are now over. Hull FC ended the competition with just 1 win as they lost 24-28 to the Catalan Dragons. Tom Lynham ran over 4 tries in his final appearance for the club. Across the city, Hull KR were behind at half-time but turned their game around to overcome the Salford Red Devils 46-22 to remain unbeaten. And before the game, French international Kevin Leroy penned a 3-year contract at the KC Lightstream Stadium. And that's all for tonight. If you've got a news story, then visit our Facebook or Twitter pages or email news@estuary.tv or phone Grimsby 01472 31 553. Until tomorrow, good evening.
Estuary TV weather, sponsored by Grimsby Institute for a brighter future.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Overnight Tuesday, fog patches clearing, during the morning to leave another dry day with some sunny spells, and again feeling pleasantly warm by the afternoon, maximum temperatures of 17 degrees. Wednesday staying dry and settled, though with some more cloud later in the week.
Estuary TV weather, sponsored by Grimsby Institute for a brighter future.